This is my observational visit presentation for the Working with People module. My observational visit was at Oaklands, which is a residential home on the Burton Road in Derby. So for my observational visit to Oaklands, this was on the 13th of March. I was placed in a group with 5 other people for the visit, and in preparation we held group meetings, so we booked and arranged the visit. We also did some research prior to visiting, just so we had some background knowledge, so we knew what sort of services the organisation provided, and also just to gain some knowledge just before we went. We also prepared some questions to ask the manager, and we allocated group members to ask these questions. So some information first about Oaklands. So Oaklands is a large house which is situated in Derby, which houses up to 8 adults who are suffering from mental health conditions. Rehabilitation is provided and service users supported and assisted in daily living in order to help them gain necessary skills in order to help them gain more independence. So firstly, Oaklands is run by Cragmore, which is a national provider of specialist services. The registered manager there is Tracy Cox. The local authority is Derby City Council. The type of service provided, it's residential care. The home is privately owned and consists of 8 residents. There's 8 rooms there. When looking at the care categories, mental health and younger adults with mental health needs. And lastly, the CQC, which stands for the Care Quality Commission, is responsible for registration and inspection. The latest CQC inspection, which took place in September 2014, states that the residents are being well looked after and cared for, they're being treated with respect and dignity, and they're protected from harm. All the residents there are cared for and supported in a way that meets their individual needs. When looking at the structure of the organisation, it's sort of like an umbrella structure. So the Priory Group is at the top. This is the leading provider of behavioural care in the UK. The Priory Group offers lots of different services such as education, healthcare, children's services and elderly care, and with the aim of improving healthcare and well-being. Secondly is Cragmore. This is part of the Priory Group of companies, and Cragmore specialises in mental health services. So Cragmore provides specialist community-based support and services to people with a range of needs associated with things such as autism, learning difficulties, mental health conditions and Asperger's syndrome. And then below that is Oaklands. So Oaklands is a residential home which is in Derby, which is run by Cragmore, and Oaklands offers specialist residential home for young people with mental health conditions. It provides service users with rehabilitation and also provides support for them to gain independence. And below this, of course, is the manager of the home, Tracy Cox, and the staff who work at the home, who are the employees. When looking at the mission statement, this is, at Cragmore, we support and we care for individuals in achieving their goals. We passionately believe that every person, regardless of the challenges they face, can accomplish extraordinary achievements with just the right level of assistance. Our highly trained staff members work continually to help people overcome barriers and empower them to exceed their own and others' expectations. So from looking at the mission statement, we can look at the aims and objectives of the organisation. So the aim of the home is to empower individuals. It focuses on recovery for people with mental health conditions, and it also encourages people to gain control of their lives and gain independence, and also for service users to have belief in themselves and to have belief in their own potential. The organisation supports individuals with achieving their personal goals, and it also gives them assistance to be able to help them overcome barriers and challenges in their life. So instead of sort of doing things for them, the staff just provide assistance for the residents, and this helps them to eventually gain independence, as this is the goal of the organisation. This is achieved by the highly trained staff that work at the home, who work closely and continually with service users in order to help them achieve their independence. When looking at the values of Oaklands, this is it takes a personalised approach, which is understanding individuals and their specific needs and listening to service users. There is also an emphasis on outcomes, as this is important, as providing effective care means that better outcomes for individuals as they are able to gain more independence in the long run. When looking at the services that are provided by the organisation, the services provided by Oaklands are mental health care and support services. So this is supporting individuals to help them gain control of their lives and to help them gain some independence. And also positive behavioural support, which is an approach for individuals who have challenging behaviour, and the approach which is delivered is constructional, proactive and educational. And there is also something called the Supporting You scheme. This is a service for people with individual needs such as mental health conditions and challenging behaviour to help them live more independently. The service helps service users to make choices about their lives and how they want to make these choices, and also helps them to create goals about their lives, so where they see themselves in so many years and goals they want to achieve in their life. And to help them do this, they have individual support plans which sort of state their goals. Also, when looking at services provided by the organisation, service users are supported and assisted in their daily living, and this helps them to gain necessary life skills and works towards independence in getting them back on their feet and into the community, and also living in their own place. So eventually this is the goal that they hope to achieve. So they hope that in the end the individuals living at the care home will be able to live by themselves and independently. Examples of this include residents there having their own individual bank accounts and budgeting their money, and so residents are able to sort of manage their own finances and also to claim appropriate benefits. The residents are able to get back into education, and there's college courses that are offered to help them do this. Residents are also given assistance with cooking and preparing meals, so they have to do this themselves, but they're given assistance with it if they need it. Also, they have to book their own appointments, and this includes doctor's appointments and hair appointments, and this also helps them to gain independence by doing things themselves. And also they help to build confidence, as confidence and self-esteem obviously impact a lot towards independence. When looking at the facilities provided by the organisation, there is the ground floor, which has the entrance. There's a communal dining room, living room, kitchen and a communal bathroom. And there's also a couple of bedrooms which are on the ground floor, which are there for the residents who are physically disabled. The first floor is just the residents' bedrooms, and on the second floor is a manager's office with a small room with a bed for staff who work for the night shifts, so if they get any chance to sleep, that's where they sleep. And there's also the staff room, which is on that floor. There's also a garden for the residents, and they often hold events outside in the garden, such as barbecues, which are held during the summer. What involvement do the service users have in the organisation? There's such a thing called Your Voice, which is basically a meeting which is held in the home every month for the residents, and it's a self-advocacy group. And this scheme, it allows residents to give their opinions and ensures that their views are put across and heard, and that they're listened to. This shows empowerment and allows their needs to be met. These views that are put across by the residents can be positive or negative, and residents are able to make complaints if they want to. There's a whistleblowing number which they can call and make their complaints, and the complaints are dealt with. Obviously there's two different sorts of complaints. There's the small complaints, and there's also more formal complaints, and they're dealt with in a different way by the HE department. Also, it ensures that residents are able to be aware of anything that happens at the home, and they're kept informed about things that are happening, such as events or things that are changing, as they have the right to know. Residents can also make arrangements such as birthdays and occasions that they want to plan, and they plan these at the meetings. What is it like to work for the organisation? Looking at the positives and negatives. So first I'll look at the negatives, because there's more of those. It's a big company, Cragmore, so everything's money orientated, and it's all about budgets. This is one of the main negatives of working in a large company. This can be quite stressful. Your site is your business, and that's a quote by Priory. There's also quite a lot of paperwork to do for the staff about the residents there. And also a big negative is that staff are not paid enough for working there. They have to work long hours and are on minimum wage. There's 9 staff at the home, which includes the bank staff. The manager is also confined to her personal office quite a lot of the time, which is a negative. Looking at the positives, there's specialist training given to the staff, which is beneficial for them as they're able to gain skills that they need, and this helps them to become more confident in their work and also more competent. Cragmore inject money into the site, and this money, obviously, it's beneficial as the money is spent wisely on things that are needed within the home, and also trips for the residents, such as day trips. There's also more monitoring within the home, and this obviously is good in terms of safety. So there's fire safety checks which are carried out regularly. So obviously the safety of the residents is paramount. And also there's a focus on service users, and this means that they take a personalised approach. So they care about individual residents at the home and their needs, and ensure that these needs are met. Does the organisation work interprofessionally? Oaklands does work interprofessionally. Working interprofessionally is about working with different agencies, all different agencies working together as one. And